Pleasure to welcome to the podcast. It's Sawyer Dillion from my hometown, Santa Rosa, California. I'll let you talk about the club teams, but still, Sawyer, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, my man. I'm doing well.
Yeah.
What a small world. Your grandparents live right next door to my parents, like literally right next door. So,
Yeah,
small world, right? Well, welcome to the
really.
show. We always start with the story of the first time that you jumped into goal. Do you remember that?
I do. Um, I was playing for one of the rival teams that we play against now, which is the Santa Rosa Steelheads. Um, and we didn't have a goalie. It's my first time playing a team sport, so I figured might as well play the most important position, right?
Yeah.
So kind of just hopped in and started.
At what age? At what age was that? So it was the first. It was the first time you'd ever play any sort of like organized team sports.
Yeah, so I think I was 10.
Okay.
I think I was 10.
Yeah, yeah. So and the Santa Rosa Steelheads, and you now play for which club?
Yeah, I play for the River Cats. So,
River Cats. All right, man. And
yeah,
it's like Steelheads and River Cats are like the big time rivals out there in Santa Rosa,
yeah,
huh?
yeah, yeah,
Love it. So you jump into goal. You're like, you figured, all right, I'm gonna give goalie a try. I mean, how was it at first? Because I remember my very first time jumping into goal, and I didn't have like 10-year-olds shooting on me. I had college kids shooting on me, which might have been a little bit
yeah,
different, but at the same time, like, you're still not ready for a lot of it. So how was it for you?
yeah. It wasn't what I expected it to be because there was a lot more pads involved,
Oh yeah,
and I was basically just kind of standing there because when you're 10, it's like the 4 foot cages.
which is
So
smart. Yeah,
yeah, I was basically just standing there like really making like a save motion. It was more just like trying to catch it.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Talk to me
so
about the
yeah, and then I
pad.
just kind of
Talk to me about the pad. Sorry to interrupt. We'll get back to it, but talk to me real quick about the pads at 10. So you got obviously the normal stuff, right? The chest pad, the
yeah.
gloves, the cup, but what else?
And then I had because it was all this was like the first time I've ever played a sport, and I kind of just jumped in without really like asking anything about the gear. So I just put on whatever they like gave to me.
Yeah,
So I had baseball shin pads, like the big ones. And then, you got your thigh pads, kind of like a football style.
yeah.
Um, and then I had like a knee thing under the baseball pads.
A knee thing,
So
like
that
knee
was
pads.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
like a volleyball knee pad or like a basketball knee pad.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then I had elbow pads for for apparently getting
It's
hit
one
in
of
the
the
elbows.
yeah, I know. That's one of the pads that I don't that never made sense to me was the elbow guards. Cause like right, like they protect the caps of the elbows, like the outer parts of the elbows, but like
Yeah.
when do you ever get hit in the actual elbow with a shot? Like have you ever been hit there?
Yeah. No, I've only been hit by attackmen.
Yeah, like maybe if you get
Uh,
slashed, that's another, or like when you're riding, but all right. And then shoulder pads too, or no?
I had so for some reason I don't know why, but I had because I think I got the wrong one or something.
Yeah.
But I had an actual. I think I still have it. It's in my room somewhere, but it's an STX, one of the STX ones. Yeah,
Nice, nice, cool. Well, you were talking, so you were talking about you just jump in there, and did anybody tell you anything about how to make saves, or was just kind of like they just like here's all the gear, get in there, don't let them score.
yeah. So that was hey Gav, that was a pretty close equivalent to it. The only thing that I remember them telling me that was specifically geared towards goalies is you had to keep your thumb at eye level.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's basically the only thing they told me. And then they were just like, don't switch hands. That and don't switch hands.
Interesting. That's funny. I
Yeah.
remember that's one of the first things that I learned too was that whole eye thumb ball setup, which I don't even coach that anymore. And I know I've coached you. You came out to one of my clinics, and I don't think
Yeah.
you set up that way anyways. Like your top hand's a little bit lower than eye level now in your setup, yeah?
Yeah, it's definitely lower.
Yeah. Why when did that switch, and why do you like it there?
Well, I went through a huge growth spurt. And I got a lot taller and I kind of leaned out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to have my stick straight up and down because I was a fairly short kid and I needed to be able to recompensate for some of that lost height with the higher, faster shots because I was moving up. So once I was pretty recently, actually, I think it was over the summer, but I realized that if I kept my top hand a little low but kept my position kind of straight up and down, I was able to I don't want to say bait because it wasn't really baiting, but I was able to get to the low shots. But then there's a lot of kids that love to shoot it underhand, but kind of shoot it higher.
Mm-hmm.
And so I realized that I was able to still get up to those shots while keeping my hands lower.
Yeah. And if you think about it, like, you got like a good, I don't know, foot and a half of the stick head. So like you don't have to be that tall to reach up and with that extra foot and a half reach 6 foot, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm 5'8", so like I reach up, I can go obviously beyond the goal. So like you're talking like if you're 5'4", I know girls, girl goalies and younger guy goalie for that matter who are 5'4", right? They reach up, you can still get to the top. So I
yeah,
think that's kind of a misconception that a lot of goalies who are shorter think like, well, how do I get to those high shots? And like the answer is like just reach up. I mean, you can get there.
yeah,
But that's interesting
yeah,
though, because one thing I watch a lot of college lacrosse, Sawyer, and one thing I have seen is back in my day you did see a lot of goalies like with a very vertical stick, and sometimes they would even
yeah,
have like the bottom hand like all the way like kind of punched out like this, like extended. You don't see that anymore because you're like anytime you're locked out, it's not
yeah,
athletic. But you are now. I see like so Will Mark from Syracuse kind of does it. Jared Paquette from Yale does it. It's like really relaxed and like really like way more bend and angle in the stick setup than I've ever seen. And I
yeah,
think he kind of set up like that as well. Yeah.
yeah. That is
Yeah.
how I try to play.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So how then did you go about learning how to make saves? Santa Rosa is not the hotbed of lacrosse, although it's growing. It's certainly growing out there. Did you attend camps, clinics? Did you get some
Yeah.
coaching?
So I did. I played for the Steelheads in my first year, and then I decided that I was going to play a travel team. So I played with a little travel team and got a little bit better over the summer. But really, I had friends shoot on me. Like I go out, you know, a lot of days of the week, and I just have like my friends just put me in goal and shoot on me.
That's it, man. Trial by fire. Get in
Yeah,
there. Get in
yeah.
there.
I did. I attended a few camps to actually Cal. Funny enough, uh, with their head coach and then some of their goalies that were playing then.
Nice. Go
But yeah,
Bears. Go Bears.
yeah,
Um, I remember teaching at one of the, well, not one. I think I taught the Thanksgiving camp. Was that it? Or do you remember?
that might have been one of them. I knew one of them. I know one of them was in the summer,
Oh, okay.
but I don't remember when the other one was.
Yeah, I remember teaching at one of those camps or a bunch of those camps, and I suffered the worst injury that I've ever suffered because they wanted me to like jump in goal because they wanted to like shoot on a college goalie, and we were playing like 6-on-6, and then
Yeah,
this kid like or one of the I mean I don't think it was 6-on-6, but a kid catches it right on the crease, and he's wide open, and like instead of just trying to go for like a touch, like just
yeah,
shoot it at the open net, he cranks it like as hard as he can, and I go to like make the save, and boom, it just nails my thumb, and it was like, oh man, I think it was like just badly sprained, not broken, because I didn't have any surgery or anything. But talk about pain, man.
yeah. That
uh,
had those are the worst ones.
right. Um,
Yeah,
Well, cool. So what would you say is your favorite part about being a lacrosse goalie? The lacrosse goalie, sir?
If you like narrow it down, there is factors that change how your game goes, but you have a really big part in like whether your team gets off to a good start or your team has to kind of work their way back into being in the flow of the game. Um, and that's like my favorite part about it because you can really help your team out and get them into that good team spirit, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, unlike any other position, right? Like if there's a great attackman, like he could be doubled and you could like take an attackman out of the game and make the rest of the team beat you, right? Goalie is not the
Yeah,
case. Like you always got to beat the goalie to score a goal. So yeah.
yeah,
Um and a lot of people feel pressure because of that, but it's certainly like an opportunity. And a lot of goalies that I talk to love it. Like that's what they love. That's why they play
yeah,
goalie. So, if you're listening to this and you feel that way, if you feel like all that pressure, like, it's a mindset change of yeah, I want it. I love it. This is a great opportunity to like you said, pump up my team, take control of the game.
yeah.
Yeah, very cool. What about other goalies that you watch, at the college level or pro? Who are some of the guys that you really like watching?
There's a lot of college guys, a lot of high school guys too.
Oh yeah.
But for college, I love to watch like Will Mark and Liam Entonen. Um,
Yeah.
I really like those guys because they have pretty similar play styles to the ones I do, and I like to study how they play their games and kind of model my game around it.
Yep. Yeah, those guys are awesome. I've had them both
Yeah,
on the show, and I sponsor Will. He's such a great dude as well.
yeah, he
He
is.
grew up in Danville, by the way. You know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you
Sometimes I
go.
think I see him at our practices a couple of times, like
Oh,
the
you
Outlaws
have?
practices.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bay Area goalies. Here we go.
yeah.
All right. And then what about like what about so at the high school goalies? So which high school goalies are you watching?
There's a lot of back east goalies that I've been watching that they're just taking off.
Yeah.
I think they're most of them are committed, but they're just super good right now. I think it's Connor Foley, I know, is one of them, and then uh Hugh Conrad is another one. I think he's already in college though. He was already in
Yeah.
college. And then
But
Caleb File.
speaking of Bay Area goalies, right?
Oh yeah,
He was
yeah,
from De La Salle.
yeah. Um,
Um,
and then Caleb File.
oh yeah, the big tasty hawk. I had him on the show. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he is.
That's cool, man. That's cool. And so remind me, how old are you and are you playing for a high school team now or no?
Yeah, so I'm 14. Next year is my first high school year,
Okay.
and funny enough, I just figured out where I was going to go, like just yesterday, I think.
Yesterday. All right.
Um, yeah.
Let's break the big news on the Lax Goalie Rap podcast.
So I'm gonna go to Casa for my first couple years, Casa Grande.
Yep.
Play with because all of my teammates are on there. I know the coaches really well. Just it's a good school environment for me to start my high school career in.
Yeah.
And then there's some schools that are farther away, but they definitely have better lacrosse. To not to knock on Casa because Casa's done really well in the past few years.
Yeah.
But like MC is a great school, amazing academics while having a great lacrosse team, and then SI and like schools like De La Salle and all those schools are also like amazing schools to attend.
Yeah.
I didn't really see it fit to go in my freshman year, um,
Yeah.
just because it'd be a lot of stuff to kind of get organized in my freshman year. So I
Yeah.
figured play it
And we're
safe in my
well, dude, and once Casa gets you in goal, whew, there we go. There we go. It's a program changer, right?
yeah. I'm
Um,
excited to play
yeah,
for
man,
him.
I'm excited. I'm excited for you. What what was I going to say? So who are the high schools that have this will probably be interesting to only me and you. Who are the high schools that have lacrosse programs in the Bay Area?
So Montgomery has a lacrosse program now.
There you go. My alma
It's
mater,
it
Montgomery
is
High School.
yeah, yep. It's run through the Steelheads.
Okay.
But then you've got St. Vincent's,
St. Vincent. Yeah.
and then you've got Marine Catholic,
Marine Catholic.
Redwood, Novato, SI.
And that's those guys all play in the same league, or are you just kind of naming teams in the
Yeah, so I'm naming teams right now.
yeah.
They change a lot. I know SI and Dela don't play in the same league,
I gotcha.
but I don't know a lot
Rancho Cotata used to have a
for
team,
that.
right?
Oh yeah, they still do.
They
I
still
forgot
do.
about those
Yeah.
guys. Yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
All right. Cool, man. Well, good luck. Good luck. So next year you're going to start high school, and the coaches kind of know the team. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
How do you then, though? It could be a tricky thing going into a new program. It sounds like you have some familiarity in that you might know a lot of the guys, but maybe there's some
Yeah.
guys you don't know. How do you, as the goalie, become a leader of that team? What's your take on that?
I think that to be a leader, you gotta have respect, but before you can have respect, you gotta earn it.
I do
So I
too.
think
Yeah.
you gotta start humble and just work your way to the top. Just
Yeah.
kind of, build up, show the guys that they can trust you and just kind of work from there.
Yeah. I 100% agree. Yeah. I mean, you can't show up on day one, like, assuming you have this level of respect that you haven't earned yet. Or telling
Yeah.
guys what to do with a tone that, like a senior would, who's been there for 4
Yeah.
years, who knows the program. But they show up you show up each and every day and kind of, and bust your butt and work hard and have fun and be a great teammate, and you're going to earn that respect pretty soon. So I think that's the right attitude. Awesome. Well, we talked about at the very beginning how your game had changed a little bit, just in terms of your top hand setup. Anything else that's changed?
I've definitely widened my stance a lot.
Yeah.
Just because my legs have gotten longer and I know how to play it now to where I know that sometimes I need to, shorten up my stance and kind of make it a more super snappy, like kind of jab of a step instead of a good, smooth, like follow through. Um,
And when do you do that?
so
Like,
yeah,
is it just a feeling thing, or like, if there's a young goalie of like,
it's
I want to try it. How do I do it? When do I know how to switch between the two? What do you say?
so on inside shots a lot. I know that most of the time you're not going to be able to get a full step and get your body behind it like you would an outside shot. So it's mostly just your front foot, which is kind of just like jabbing almost at the ball
Mm-hmm.
because it's Goaliesmith, read them and beat them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I follow is just you got to see where the shot's going. You just got to step and kind of jab your body at it.
Yeah. Yeah, on those inside shots, right? Like you really got to use all the clues that are given to us, and you got to read the shooter's body language a lot of times and just beat them to the spot, right? And every
Yeah.
once in a while, and it's happened to like all of the goalies, even at the pro level, like every once in a while, they just get you, like if they're a great
Oh yeah.
shooter and like their shoulders are going this way, and then they end up shooting back that way, and you're like, all right, you got it.
Yeah.
But I think that, that Goaliesmith read him and beat him. I love that. It gives you the highest chance to make those inside saves. So,
Yeah.
now I know the Goaliesmith guys, Andrew, or was it Mike? He used to live in San Francisco, and then they both moved back east, but I know they make trips out west. Have you trained with those guys?
Oh yeah. I train with them a lot.
Nice.
I've done a good amount of their camps. I've done all of the West Coast ones in the past 4 years, I think.
Yeah, let's go.
And then I did one East Coast one too. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, those guys are awesome. The work ethic and the information they provide you with is just top notch.
Love it. 100% agree. Friends of the program, they definitely, or they coach, or they give a present at every goalie summit I do, and they're just awesome guys. What did you learn specifically from them? Maybe it sounds like you've been a couple times. So maybe in the very beginning, were there like different things that you learned and then some things you learned at the end or more recently,
Oh
I should
yeah.
say? Yeah.
In the very beginning, it was super foundational because I was
Yeah.
not very. I was pretty. I don't want to bash myself, but I was pretty bad. I mean, like I would move out of the way of shots and like you know just all your beginning goalie things, and they gave me the tools I needed to be able to rise up past that. But now, past the foundational point of that kind of first camp, it was more tuning things up with like where my feet are pointed and
Mm-hmm.
how I step to the ball, like actually how the step feels and what angle it's going at,
Mm-hmm.
to try to make it easier for me to get like outlets out and not stepping too far,
Mm-hmm.
because that's like the biggest thing that I've worked on with them in the past is not stepping too far. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Like stepping aggressively and hard, but not like overstepping to the point where like you can't control that rebound and come up with a quick outlet.
yeah, yeah.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Love it. Well, very cool. Talk to me about a West Coast goalie going back to play East Coast on the East Coast, I
It's
should
definitely
say.
tough. It's yeah, it was a lot of pressure for me for the first trip. And I definitely didn't play as well as I could have, but I didn't, obviously it was kind of very mediocre for my first time. But it's it feels like a lot of pressure, but if you just calm down and you say, hey, this guy's gonna shoot the ball at me, I'm gonna stop it. It definitely simplifies a lot of things. But I think once you get kind of comfortable on the East Coast, it's not a whole bit different. It's just like that 2 seconds faster. They're always a step ahead of you on the East Coast. So
Mm-hmm.
um, they definitely they definitely it feels like they're almost an age up, but they're a lot of fast kids, a lot of fast shooters, a lot of accurate shooters. So great
Yeah.
competition. It's a great thing to be able to do because you can really see like, hey, I'm good on the West Coast because like I might not have this team to play against or that team to work on, but like I still got to get better. It kind of gives you a good reminder that you're not done working yet.
Oh, yeah. Great point. Great point. Yeah. And that could be very easy. Like when you're not playing like with the world's best or the nation's best, it can be easy to be like, oh, I'm the best goalie in Santa Rosa or for my age, right? And like, cool,
Yeah,
that's it. That's it. Like I could kind of just coast, but no, like you got to really push
yeah,
yourself to keep getting better and playing with the best competition, or even sometimes goalies play like up in levels, right? Like play with older kids.
yeah,
That can be a really good way to keep pushing yourself to get better as well. Um,
yeah, for
what
sure.
else did you say there? Oh, I liked how you said, it's still right. I mean, it's still you go back to the East Coast and it's still lacrosse, right? I mean, the guys are still shooting at
Yeah.
you and you still make the saves the right way or the same way, the right way for that matter. Um, it reminds me of this scene. Have you ever seen that movie Hoosiers, an old basketball movie?
No,
It's
I
pretty
haven't. I
old. I
don't
think it
think.
came out, and I want to say it came out in the 80s. So it's pretty old. But anyway, it's like about this really small town high school team that makes like a run at the state championship. And they like walk into this gym for the state championship. And like all these small town kids are like, whoa, like they've never seen like a gym that cool, that big. And the coach goes up
Yeah,
and like with a measuring tape and he measures the basketball rim. He's like, guys, guess what? The rim's 10 feet here too. So it's like it's the same thing, right? It's the exact same thing,
yeah.
even though it's bigger. But I love that. Um, all right, the older folks will appreciate the Hoosiers reference. It's one of the greatest sports movies that's out there. So if you get a chance, check that one out.
Yeah, I'll be sure to. I'll look at that.
All right, I love it. What does your training regiment look like these days, Sawyer? Like how many times a week are you practicing? We're recording this on March 22nd, so like I guess you're heading into
Yeah,
the club season. What are you doing?
yeah. So starting from about probably about February, that's kind of where your tournaments and your showcases and your camps kind of cut off. and that's where the rec season begins. So obviously during the tournament season, I'm practicing like when I can because I'm traveling a lot for lacrosse for obviously lacrosse. But for you know tournaments and stuff like that, so it's kind of less organized than it is now. But out of the tournament season, I try to work on the wall every day of the
Mhm.
week,
Oh,
even if it's
nice.
for only like 20 minutes, because I was super lucky to have a concrete wall right in my front yard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll try to do that, and then I'll try to do like a run or a bike ride 2 to 3 times a week, just so I can keep my cardio up and not get winded out on every shot. Um,
Love it. And
yeah, so yeah.
and tournament season for you guys is kind of like during the summer. Is that accurate, or does it start before that?
So it's the summer and then the winter. The summer, winter, and fall, and then this kind of like middle spring period is our rec season.
Got it.
So
Yeah.
that's yeah.
Do you ever
So now,
go ahead.
so now is just kind of the time where I'm like working on the wall a lot, but then on the weekends when we don't have games, a lot of times I'm getting shots from my friends.
Do you ever so tournament season sometimes, can be a lot of lacrosse. And sometimes when goalies play like a lot of lacrosse, a lot of games, you can suffer burnout. Have you ever gone through that? No.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, I've definitely had that happen before, and I just try to think about it like, hey, it doesn't feel good right now, but it will when you win your next game or something like that. So you just kind of, it's something that I tried to fight through and it didn't work. So I always just like, if I'm ever feeling tired or something like that, I'll just like go, my hobbies are a little different. I love to hunt and fish. So obviously, like if I'm ever feeling burnt out, I'll probably just go like take a little fishing trip or a little hunt trip and just work on that for like a day or two, and then I'll be ready and back. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Give yourself the gift of missing lacrosse, right? And sometimes,
yeah,
yeah, go do something else. Go surfing, go hunting, go fishing, go play the guitar, do whatever it is that you do, right? And then come back with that newfound love. So I love that. Well, awesome, man. What kind of goals do you got lacrosse wise for yourself?
um, I'd like to I'd like to work towards starting on varsity in my sophomore year. Because I know sometimes it can be unreasonable to say, hey, I want to start varsity in my freshman year, even though it's always a possibility. I mean, they're never saying no, absolutely not, but obviously there's going to be competition. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I'd like to try to work towards that goal of having that spot on varsity. Um, But yeah, that's just kind of what I keep in the back of my mind when I'm working out is like, hey, you got to work towards this goal.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, that's a good goal. That's a good goal, right? Because that checks all the boxes on what makes a good goal of like being very specific, being very like time bound, right? Like I know exactly when I want it. Very attainable. I mean, you could definitely hit that, right? It's not saying it's easy, but I mean it's very attainable. So
Yeah,
yeah, great goal. What about college? Do you want to play in college?
I would like to play in college. I'd like to play back east, just because obviously, you see the colleges on TV, you're like, wow, I want to play there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, definitely, I'd like to play back east, one of those Big Ten schools.
All right, let's go.
But yeah,
Let's go,
yeah,
man. How do you handle the mental game? Because getting scored on can be tough, but you know,
yeah,
especially I think, well, maybe not. It could be tough for at any age. It could be tough when you're young. It could be tough when you're,
yeah.
in college. But how do you handle the mental part of the game? Are there specific things that you keep in your mind, specific mental game lessons that really help you?
I'd I would always get pretty stressed over a goal, especially in like a big
Yeah,
close game.
yeah,
But I found now that like after you get scored on, I'll just call my defense back in and be like, "Hey guys, this is what went wrong. This is what we can do to fix it next time." Um, if obviously if it's my fault, because you're always gonna have goals that go in that you could have stopped, and like you can't blame it on your defense, but you can't hound yourself over it throughout the whole game. So you just gotta. A lot of times, what I'll do is like if there's a big goal that I let in, or not a big goal, but like a goal that I should have stopped, I'll be like, "Yep, guys, that was a stupid goal. Like I could have totally saved it, but I didn't. I'll make it up to you guys. I promise. We'll get the
Yeah,
next one."
there you go.
Yeah,
Yep. I mean, that's the number one mental game lesson is just that short-term memory, that next shot mentality. So important, right? So important.
yeah,
Well, cool. Sir, good to see you again, my man. I know you're a Mr. Wonderful head guy, aren't you?
yeah. I've
Yeah.
got it right there.
All right. What do you got? What kind of head do you play with?
So here, do you want me to grab it?
Yeah, I do.
I've got an ECD Impact.
Hmm.
It's got it's beat right now. It's a piece of work right now, but I've got an ECD Impact
Nice.
with the impact mesh, and then I've got it on the Evo QX.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, great setup.
Light, huh? Super light.
Yeah, super light.
That was one thing that really shocked me about the impact head is just how light it is. And I have it on like I have it on one of the String Kings like lightest attack shaft, and it is like, man, it just feels so quick. It's just so sweet. I love it.
Yeah,
And huge
definitely.
shout out to
I've
Mr. Wonderful, huh?
Oh yeah, huge shout out to Mr. Wonderful. He has been a lifesaver, and a couple times where I've broken my heads and just gotten shots that snapped them.
Yeah.
He's definitely came in clutch with the
Oh
X
man,
head.
he emergency rushed ship you out in order.
Yeah, there was one time where I got a shot and it was like right here and it was a hole. I was like, "Hey, Mr. Wonderful, my
Yeah.
tournament is in like a week. Is there any way we could get it like rush shipped out?" And he
Yeah.
he got it out for us. So
Man.
definitely very thankful.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. I know when you originally reached out, you wanted to ask me some questions. So let's do it. Let's do it right now.
Yeah, I did. So these questions are for my I have to make a magazine for English. He probably won't hear this, but Mr. Eklund's English project for our final for spring break. I got to make a project, and one of my writings was an expository essay on history of lacrosse and how it expanded on the West Coast.
Okay.
And I know you were a pretty big part of that through your college days, but also because of the fact that you kind of have a huge impact on the internet. And I know so many people that know of you and think really highly of you. So just wanted to get a quote from you for my essay and just ask you a couple questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. I don't know if I had much to do with the spreading of lacrosse on the West Coast, but I agree. I think with the using the internet and what I've done there, I think I've been able to get a lot of really good um goalie educational content into the goalies all over the world, people who like have no goalie coaching whatsoever. um
Yeah,
and at first I was very skeptical as to whether like you could even teach someone a sport strictly online, right? Because there's always that element of like, you got to go out to the field and do it. You got to go see the shots. You got to go do the drills. There's always that. So it
yeah,
was like in the back of my head when I was starting this, I'm like, well, can you really, can I teach you how to ski? Like just doing these like Zoom calls? Like, I don't know. But as
yeah,
it turns out, like it's supplemental. And the answer really is yes. There's a lot of people who have like taken everything that, taken the knowledge that they've learned, and then they go out to the field and put that into practice. So it's still like, I'm not saying that you can just watch these coaching sessions or watch some videos that I put out and be good to go. You still got to go out there and put out the work, but at least now they know like,
yeah,
all right, this is what I do when I'm out there, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. No, that does.
Yeah.
Um, I think it was. I have three questions for you. When when did you realize that you had the opportunity to start and play, in some of the bigger games at Cal? Like, what was the turning point for you?
Um, well, it was pretty clear because there was two goalies on the team. One goalie was a senior and I was a sophomore. So I sat that year. I was backup, and then he graduated. So my junior year,
Okay.
it was pretty clear, like, hey, Damon, the reins are yours. And I was ready. I felt really confident. I'd been working really hard to be in that position. And, there's still obviously some nerves that you get, like when it's your first, like, oh, now, like the spotlight's on me now, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the it was pretty clear. It wasn't like I had to beat out 5 goalies like you do in some of the D1 programs. The other goalie graduated. Then we got a freshman in. But I was like, he was still learning the sport, so I was better than him, but he got really good.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when did you ever want to play pro, or was that kind of not an option? Um,
It was not an option just because like I wasn't that good. Let's see. So I graduated in 2003, and I don't even know if was when did the MLL start? MLL lacrosse. I don't. It started in 2001, so I guess it was a new thing. But no,
okay.
it never crossed my mind to like play pro. When I graduated
Yeah.
college, like that was the end of my competitive career. I played like in a men's league,
Okay.
and went to some tournaments like after. But I remember one like very specific tournament where I retired. This one was going to be my last one, and then I haven't really played since. But yeah, no, never
Yeah.
really crossed my mind that like lacrosse was something I was going to do after college for a living.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And then the last one is just if you could say something to someone that has never played lacrosse and never heard of it before, what do you think you would say? I know that's kind of a weird question, but I think it'd be cool to put in a quote in a magazine.
I would say play lacrosse. I so I grew up playing basketball, soccer, and baseball were kind of like my 3 sports. And then my family, my dad was very athletic, so I was like doing all the sports. I did gymnastics when I was like 4 or 5, swimming. Anyway, but basketball, soccer, and baseball. And then when I got to high school, I stopped playing basketball and I started wrestling. And I still
Yep.
played. I did soccer, wrestling, and tennis. So tennis was another sport. So I played a lot of sports. Is the point. And then I found lacrosse, and it was like, it's a beautiful game. I never. It's my favorite sport out of all of them. The combination of like the camaraderie with the team, the strategy with the team, like all the different team strategic elements, but then also there's just so much individual work, like so much like stick handling and dodging and defensive moves and making saves as goalies. So much you can do as an individual. And then you've got the physicality, you got the scoring, you've got the conditioning, you got the overtime game-winning dog piles, right? It's got it all. It's got it all.
Yeah.
So my advice
Yeah.
to somebody who has never heard of the sport of lacrosse is play lacrosse.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
Sawyer,
for
absolutely. Thank you, my
having me
man.
here.
Say hello to your dad for me. I know he helped
I
me.
will.
He helped me a ton when I was when I put on that clinic in Petaluma. And
Yeah, I will.
yeah, good to see you, man. Good luck in the upcoming season. And if you had to leave the goalies out there with one piece of advice, what would that be?
Um, Step to the ball. Step to
I
the ball.
I love it. Hey, don't overcomplicate
Yeah.
this position, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sir, take care.
Take care. Thank you.